You are listening to GHP Radio, powered by iTrackRadio.com, your independent music source. Fresh, new music, right here on the all-new GHP Radio, your new independent music source. You are listening to GHP Radio, powered by iTrackRadio.com, your independent music source. Fresh, new music, right here on the all-new GHP Radio, your new independent music source.
Another day, another night, babe. all alone, depending on, honey, your telephone, girl, to keep you warm. It's 24/7, baby. Just put it down and talk to me, honey. You know you want it, so why don't you text me tomorrow, girl? 'Cause in the morning there will be no sorrow. You'll be coming back to me, baby. You'll be coming back, baby. Text me tomorrow, girl. But in the meantime, in between time, girl, you'll be coming back to me, baby. So why don't you text me tomorrow, please? Ooh, baby, ooh, we never saw the waterfall, baby. The tide is high, we gotta try to keep our love nice and dry. So wipe the tears from your eyes, girl. There was a time when you and I, baby, would go for walks and sweet talk, and I could see your sweet smile. So why don't you text me tomorrow, girl? 'Cause in the morning there will be no sorrow. You'll be coming back to me, baby. You'll be coming back, baby. Text me tomorrow, girl. But in the meantime, in between time, girl, you'll be coming back to me, baby. So why don't you text me tomorrow, please? Ooh, baby, ooh, so baby, please stay with me, honey. Be straight with me, don't play with me, baby. 'Cause you know I love can use some TLC. Ooh, baby, so can't you see it's you and me forever? So baby, please come home to me. You'll never be alone. Stay off the phone. I got what you need, baby. Text me tomorrow, girl. 'Cause in the morning there will be no sorrow. You'll be coming back to me, baby. You'll be coming back, baby. Text me tomorrow, girl. But in the meantime, in between time, girl, you'll be coming back to me, baby. You'll be coming back, baby. So text me tomorrow, please.
We've known each other a long time, and I've been thinking about you, thinking about us getting together. What about you?
It's been so long since you let love in. So many ups and downs, you don't know how to begin. But I wanna tell you, just one day at a time. Give me a chance and I'll make you mine.
What about you?
Are you lonely?
What about you?
Feeling sad?
What about you?
I can make you happy. What about you? Do you need someone?
What about you?
To hold you close?
What about you?
I need to know. Tell me what about you? I promise to love you forever and a day. I'll do whatever it takes to make it easy along the way. I'll be there for you through thick and thin. You can count on me. On my word you can depend.
What about you?
Are you lonely?
What about you?
Feeling sad?
What about you?
I can make you happy.
What about
Ooh, what about someone to hold you close.
What about you?
I need to know. Tell me, tell me, tell me. What about you?
What about?
Yeah.
What about?
I need to know. Please tell me. What about you, girl? I have to know the truth.
What about?
I love you. Please tell me, tell me.
Baby, if you just hold my hand, look at me. Let me hold you close. You know that I've always loved you. I've loved you a long time. What about you? What about you?
What a wonderful feeling. Takes my breath away. Makes a bright sunshiny day. In a land of make-believe, I never could conceive. You're lying here next to me. She's so fabulous. My boo is so marvelous. The way we met, it was so miraculous. I feel so fabulous. Ooh, oh, oh. What a wonderful feeling. Leaves me rocking and feeling. Loving you's been so dope. A shining star, so full of hope. Just to hold you, been so real. It's the thought of you. You've been my biggest thrill. She's so sensuous. From the first time I saw you, it made me curious. And if you leave, girl, I'd go furious. My boo is so fabulous, fabulous. Yeah. Love is about giving. Every day so fulfilling. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. Just you and I, a wonderful love song. It must be sent from above. The floatiness of a dove. You're my boo. I'm so into you. Ooh, a wonderful feeling. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You're my boo. You're so fabulous. Takes my breath away. No one makes me feel the way you do, girl. You're so fabulous. I never could conceive. So miraculous. You're lying here next to me. So
carry so much on your shoulder. It's time to show you what a real love is. Forget the past, baby, let's move forward. I can give you what you're missing, push you toward your vision. I just wanna be a team, that's just who I am. Gotta show you what I mean. Won't you come with me? Come on and let's get away. Let me please you. Let's get away for the day. And don't you hesitate to say what you wanna do. Let me be the one to take a load off, the one you wanna show off. You just let me, baby, if you let me, baby, won't you let me? I'll be all that you need. Baby, just let me be. There's nobody that can give it to you like I do, and I can prove that to you. I just wanna pamper you. Yes, I do. It's all about you. My priority is to be a dream come true. So anytime you need that, I'll do it just for you. Baby, it's all about you. So boy, won't you come with me? Come on and let's get away. Let's get away for the day. And don't you hesitate to say what you wanna do. Baby, won't you let me be? Let me be the one to take a load. I wanna. You just let me. Baby, if you let me. Baby, won't you let me? I wanna be everything you'll ever need. If you let me be. Let me be. Oh, let me be your everything. Let me be everything you ever need. Yeah. If you let me be, baby, if you let me be the one to love you. Let me be the one to hold you. Let me be my baby.
come around when I need it. You seem to know. You looked at me, you grabbed my face and said, pack your things, let's go.
Don't you like it?
Sure do. Take a first class flight, Hawaiian night, sand between our feet.
Trade the bitter,
Trade it in, girl,
for the sweet.
for the sweet. Then you hit me with that super love that knocked me off my feet. Do it again, girl. Ooh, baby. Do it again, girl, yes. You're my friend, babe. Do it again. You never break me down. Catching feelings, feeling real. I need some time to rearrange just how you feel. Cause I'm used to being by myself. But everything you add to me is so good for my health, yes.
We like it,
Cause we like it
in the heat.
in the heat. A first class flight, Sahara night, the sand between our feet, yes. Trade it in, girl, for the sweet. Then you hit me with more super love. You knocked me off my feet, hey. Ooh, do it again. Kiss me, girl. Do it again, baby. Give me more love. About that friendship thing, girl. Yeah, I don't have the time to play a game of hearts.
I've got too much respect for love.
I'm just trying to figure out the death do us parts. That's why I'm single. Play after you play, yeah. Yeah, no, baby. Hey, do it again, baby girl. Do it again. When you love me, kiss me, girl. Hold me down, lift me up. Friendship thing, got me feeling love. Got me so tied up, girl. I can't feel it in. Do it again,
right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this edition of the Indie Live Spot. And I hope you've been enjoying all that wonderful music I've been playing since the half hour ago. A lot of great music, new artists and new hits. And of course, we're very excited. Of course, I know you all can see on the screen here, we have our guest today, Mr. Phil Ingram. So help me welcome Mr. Phil Ingram. Welcome to the show.
All right.
Yes, man. We're so excited, Phil, to have you on the show today. I want to thank Mr. Andre Pittman for setting this thing up with you. And man, it's just an honor to be able to actually conversate with you today about some of the wonderful things you've done over the year. Your career is just amazing because we grew up listening to you when you were in the band Switch, and just amazing group back then. You guys got some wonderful hits. And
thank you.
Yeah, and
just so you know, we're still performing.
Yeah, well, that's awesome too. I definitely want to hear about all of that. But again, just thank you for being here, and we welcome you.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. And of course, Ray Mack and Joyce is here with us. And
finally.
yes.
Now, see, Ray, I wasn't gonna even go there, but since you opened that can of worms, no.
It's over,
Go
baby.
for it,
It's over.
Philip. Just go for it.
Hey,
Don't go back.
Look here.
Because he won't.
When I told Gary I was about 10, 15 minutes away from the house, she said, well, hell, Joyce ain't made it yet.
I had a gig. I still got here before you.
Yeah, well, I had to come all the way in from Dallas, but I'm talking about, they should have had this stuff set up before I even got there, so I can get up out of there.
Yeah.
You know?
It's all good.
It's a good,
It's
yeah.
all good.
It happens.
Yeah.
It sure does.
Yeah. But
And I'm like Gary. I'm so excited you're here today, Philip. When Gary told me you were going to be on the show, the first thing that came to my mind, he said, Switch, Philip from Switch. And all I could think was, I'm a man now, baby.
But Joyce, since we met, you can tell I'm not the one that said that.
No, you're not.
That was Mr. Bobby DeBarge that said that.
yeah.
Right.
It's funny that now it's a classic line.
It is.
That song has been done and redone, and it's like they all go, I'm a man now. So it's like,
And tell the listening audience, who was that said it?
yeah, Bobby DeBarge.
Yeah. Bob.
Oh, you already said that. Okay.
Yeah.
Bobby
Yeah,
DeBarge,
when we were
right.
doing that, Greg and Bobby wrote, Greg Williams and Bobby DeBarge wrote that, and we were doing it. He did his little ad lib, but I'm a man now, a grown man. I was like, you don't sound like it. You still sound like you. So we're in the studio laughing, but obviously it became one of our biggest hits.
Yeah.
It did.
Yes,
Which
did.
proves sometimes what we think, because I've heard songs like, if I had somebody just asked me, what do you think about this? I would have said, nah, that's not going to make it. But you just never know.
You don't.
No, we felt the song was nice. It was just that I'm a man now,
Right.
But now it's like classic. It's funny. So
It's like Janet said, what is it? My name is Janet, or Miss
right,
Janet.
Miss Nasty, right?
Yeah. So
Nasty
that
boy.
has become a classic line too.
Yep.
Yeah.
hmm But I know you got some questions, Gary, so I'll back off.
Oh, that's cool.
But Joyce, do I have the answers? That's the real question.
Oh, you have them. promise you.
Oh, no
You
doubt.
have a lifetime of experience
Yes.
with great answers, and
Oh.
we're looking forward to it.
Yes, we
Thank you.
are. Yeah. Well, I guess for starters, man, I want to kind of go back a little bit, from your beginnings, because I know now you guys were actually from Akron, Ohio. Is that right?
Well, Eddie Floyle and myself were from Akron, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Jody Sims, he was from Steubenville, Ohio.
Okay.
And Greg Williams and Bobby and Tommy DeBarge were from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
the way this, I can kind of bring you up to speed of how we got together.
Yeah.
Actually, Greg, Tommy, Bobby, and Jody was in a band called White Heat. And prior to that, there was this band, some was from Ohio and some was from Michigan. They were called the TNT Flashers. They were working around, you know, the Ohio, Michigan area. And anyway, they went out to California in the early 70s to get a record deal. And Barry White picked them up. And, you know, we were excited to have some guys from, because, you know, we had the Ohio players and we had, some of them were from Ohio. It's like, that was exciting.
Yes.
So he changed their name from the TNT Flashers to White Heat.
Oh, wow.
But then they were signed to RCA Records. They didn't really get, you know, didn't really make a lot of noise. But then they ended up coming back, but their bass player ended up staying with and became Barry White's bass player. And then Tommy, you know, DeBarge, he plays bass, obviously. And then they were back in Akron, Ohio. And I'm like, because I had their album, I was like, why is White Heat here? But then I found out it was kind of like, you know, close enough to Grand Rapids, close enough to Steubenville so they could get back and forth within a couple hours. So that's how that happened. So that's how we met. And I was in a little local band called Raw Soul. I was like 16 years old. And we started doing shows with them. And that's how we became friends. You know, Tommy and I were about the same age.
Yeah.
I think Bobby was about 18 or so. And so that's when we all met. So that's how it started.
Awesome. That is so cool.
Tell us about the record deal. When you guys, what was your very first hit, by the way?
Actually, They'll Never Be.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They'll Never Be. But here's what happened when we did Greg, when he approached me, it was October of 76. And he said he felt White Heat had basically done everything they could accomplish. And so he was looking to put something together. So Greg was the mastermind behind, he picked the individuals, and it was very unique, his approach, because, you know, he wanted some guys that looked decent, that could sing and play. And so he already had myself, he had Tommy, you know, he knew about Eddie, because Eddie was with me in Raw Soul.
Yeah. Introduced
him to Eddie, and then, you know, and Eddie plays classical piano plus trombone, you know, he can sing. So it was like, so we put this together, I was telling Gary, we put this group together, and we didn't have a name yet, but somebody gave us some money to go down to the studio. We went down to Columbus, Ohio, did a 8-song demo in about 2 weeks. And there was a guy named Arnie Haynes that was actually the keyboard player and had the falsetto. So me and him were doing most of the leads. And so, now this is nuts. Greg said, you know, I'm 18 years old. He said, hey man, I'm gonna have a record deal in 2 weeks. Now, of course, we young and stupid and thinking it was gonna happen, right? So but here's what we knew. They did have some connections with RCA Records. So, I mean, it's like, that's more than we had done. So we're like, okay. So Greg Williams and Jody Sims went to California. And it was funny, within 2 weeks, they were in the Motown building. They went there to contact an attorney that had helped them with their record deal, a guy named Curtis Shaw. When they were coming down on the elevator, they weren't there to shop a deal at Motown. They were there to visit this attorney that had one of the offices in the Motown building. But anyway, it was coming down. Jermaine Jackson and Hazel Gordy, at the time, his wife, they walked up to the elevator. And you know how it is, you know, you see somebody famous, you're like, oh man, you know, this is Jermaine Jackson. So he gets off at the 5th floor, they got off, and seriously, they only had one tape, the one cassette tape. Wow. And they were like, man, we should have gave him a tape.
Yeah.
So they literally go back up to the 5th floor, they know, and they just started going out. It's actually the parking lot, but they know that. Jermaine was sitting in his Rolls Royce with Hazel. It was very nice. Hazel was pregnant with Jermaine Jr. And he's, you know, he saw him in the elevator, so he was kind enough to roll down the window. And he said, can I help you? And they said, yeah, I mean, if you don't mind, can you listen to this tape? He said, oh, okay, I'll give it a listen. And they were like, you know, had a number on it, but they didn't have no expectations, but it's like, okay. And it's funny, as we got to know Jermaine, he would do that. He would sit in his car, because where he lived was about 40 miles away. Yeah. And so he would look for something to play. It was back in the days you had the cassettes and stuff.
Right.
So he put that in. The next day he's in the hospital. Hazel was having Jermaine Jr. He called, he said, this stuff is great. What's going on? And Greg said, we don't have a record deal. He says, are you kidding me? Wow. He said, can you guys meet me up at the hospital? And we were like, you know, that was Greg and Jody. They called us. We did not believe them. We're like, yeah, I mean, you ain't met no Jermaine Jackson. Come on, man. But, you know, they put him on the phone, and we're like, that could be anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was because it was literally surreal.
That is surreal. Definitely.
And that was, and think about it. We got together December '76 as a band. January of '77, they already had interest, and then that's when they start working out things to get the deal going. So the rest of us came out in March of '77. But here's what was nuts: once we got the deal going, Arnie Hayes decided not to come. So Jermaine said he thought it was me. He says, "Is that the guy with the?" No, he said, "No, he's coming." He said, "But the guy with the higher voice," and we're like, "What?" And so at the time, Bobby, we talked a little bit about this on our Unsung episode. You know, Bobby had been struggling with drugs and stuff, so that's why Greg didn't go to him at first. But then Greg called us. He said, "Hey man, Bobby's clean. What you guys think?" And of course, he's a phenomenal talent. But we're like, "Yeah, if he's clean, let's do this."
Yeah.
So he came, and it's funny. He had just wrote, "I wanna be with you." That's the first song on our first album. He had just wrote that, and we did some of the stuff we did, and then we did this showcase. Like I was telling Gary, it was Berry Gordy was there. Let me back up. When Jermaine heard us, he was so excited. He came. That was on a Tuesday. That Friday, he came back and says, "Hey man, you guys got the deal." We're like, "Are you kidding me?" You know, he said, "Yeah." Now this was March of '77. He said, "But Barry, he was married to Berry Gordy's daughter."
Right.
It's like he was pumping us up. We were like, and he said, "But nobody's heard you but me. They've heard the tape, but they want to see you guys live." Berry Gordy was there, Suzanne DePass, Tommy Jones, and there was some other songwriters and stuff. And as I was telling Gary, we would do our showcase. We did like 8 songs, and we did our showcase. And like if Bob was out front, I'd be on the piano. Then Greg was on the trumpet, Eddie was on the trombone, and then I'd go out front, Bobby go on the piano, me and him, then Greg got on the keyboards, then Bobby got on the drums. And we just did what we normally do, because all of us played various instruments. We could all sing lead and background. And Suzanne DePass said, "I've never seen so much switching in my life." He said, "You guys are amazing." But what blew us away is Berry Gordy said, and it's funny, I remember going home that day, he said, "I love you guys, I'm into it." Then he said this, "The only thing that mess you guys up is you." And when me and Greg was riding home together, I'm like, we're in trouble. Only because I knew the volatility of Bobby at the time, hoping that he would stabilize. But
sure.
And so Greg said, "Hey man, we're gonna ride this train as long as we can." That's really what happened. But yeah, that's how we got the deal. And then the first album, "They'll Never Be," was our first hit. "I Want to Be Closer" was the next one from that album. That album went platinum. And then we followed up with "Best Beat in Town" on the second album. Then "I Call Your Name," and then that album went platinum. And then after that, we talked about this on Unsung. You don't ever, and can I say ever again? Come on, Ray Mack, ever. Let me emphasize that.
Yeah.
Or ever.
Exactly. There you go, Joyce. Let me tell you where our meetings used to be. They were not at the Motown building. We were up at Berry Gordy's home. We were up there.
You mean his mansion?
Yes. Yes. I'm sorry. His community.
No doubt.
So, and we would watch, like episodes of us on Soul Train on Don Kirshner's rock concert, Mike Douglas, and he would be like giving us pointers, you know what I mean? And basically grooming us. But then we did this song. It's actually this album right here. This was our third album. If you notice, the first 2 have images on them, right?
Right.
We're cycling. This one, I think Motown was sending us a message because there was a song we did called "Power to Dance," and we're at Berry Gordy's home. So picture this, right? He's saying, "This is a #1 record. I love the song. I love the energy, the melody." He said the lyrics aren't as strong as the melody. Just need to change the lyrics. And I think Bobby and Bunny that wrote that. And you know what Bobby told Berry Gordy?
Uh-oh.
What did he say?
Yeah.
He wasn't gonna change.
Huh?
He wasn't gonna change the lyrics.
Pretty much. He says, "I think the lyrics are fine." Now I was 20 years old. I'm sitting here. I'm like, wait a minute. We in Berry Gordy's home. This man knows about some hit records. I put my head down. I said, "This man has lost his monkey mind." Seriously. And I'm like, come on, man. But if you notice, so look at these two albums. They got our pictures on it, right? Now this doesn't. They changed the logos, no pictures. So this album, after having all that momentum, we lost some momentum.
Okay.
Great songs on that. There was a song called My Friend in the Skies on that record. Don't Take My Love Away. I mean, it's, but it's like, that's why some people only think we had 3 albums. Because then we followed up with the next album, this one. This is right there.
Yeah.
That's You Love Me Over and Over and Again. That was a big hit off of that. So, but we lost that momentum. And then, but yeah, when he said, I think the lyrics are fine. Yeah, you don't do that. So that was like the beginning of the end.
Oh, man.
And then they start doing stuff. Switch started doing, by that time they had already signed his family, DeBarge, but they actually shelved them at the time because we were so hot. Because Elle and Bobby sounded like the same person.
Yeah.
But then after that, when we did our 5th album, it was so our reign in Motown was from 77 to May of 82. May of 77 was literally 5 years. We did an album each year.
Yeah.
And after that, that's when DeBarge, again, that name was already out there, plus that sound was already out there. So much so when they did All This Love, people were calling me, Simon, I love your new record. I'm like, well, that ain't us. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
And that's when the lines got blurred at that time. And over the years, because like I Like It, that's Tommy playing bass on I Like It,
Oh, yeah.
So you got all that. So some people got the songs mixed up, and then they thought They'll Never Be, and I Call Your Name was DeBarge Records. They were Switch Records.
And I did too. I thought that at one time.
Yeah.
And then I kind of caught up, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Same family. And then it was around that time when my brother James had just got, he was doing song demos around town, and he had done remember that song, Never Gonna Give You Up? Never Gonna Give You Up. That Sergio Candes, he recorded that. A song called Right Here and Now that was recorded by Bill, used to be with the Righteous Brothers. Bill Bentley. Me, James, Phil Perry sang background on that. Okay. But he did that and that just once. It was 3 songs wrote by Barry Mann and Cynthia, his wife. And they were sent to Quincy. And that's when Quincy heard Just Once. He said, I want the song and the singer. And as I was telling you guys when first coming on, James had never been out front at that time. He was always in a band playing the piano, but could sing.
That is
and
amazing.
It's like, Jermaine, Quincy wanted him to go to Japan with him. We were laughing I'm like, what are you gonna do? Because he had never been out front.
But real quick.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course his career took off, and him and I did we did a bunch of stuff together. Some shows and stuff together, but we did a lot behind the scenes, like a lot of commercials, a lot of movies, and sang on a bunch of records together. So.
Wow. Well, I said this off the air that sometimes when I listen to James or I listen to you, either one, you guys have similar voices as well. Have you heard that before?
Yeah, over the years, you know what you can tell? Because James has, like when you hear him go up in his higher register, he has more of that rough voice. And I always had a higher register in my natural.
Right.
And, but that was the Ingram thing. That James said, I'm gonna find me a trademark, and that was that howl, right? So
right.
Yeah.
But him and I, certain things people go like, man, is that you or your brother?
Right.
So there's similarities, but if you heard us back to back, like when I would I did about 3 shows with him when my schedule allowed, and I would sing Michael McDonald's part to, Y'all Won't Be There.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was the hit too.
So,
God, I almost forgot about that one.
That's right.
Oh, I'm telling you, and what happened, this is when I learned, like I was telling you guys earlier, being out in California, it was interesting. You meet all these different people, the different songwriters and stuff, and got these huge careers, and you meet these session singers. So actually, I've done everything in the industry except for manage. But I've written, I've produced, played on people's records, sang background on tons of records. Literally most of the 80s and 90s, I was working with Walter Afanasieff, and I was working with Peter Wolf, and I was their vocal contractors. And so a lot of those hits, like that, Wang Chung, everybody have fun tonight. I'm singing on that. So it's a lot of that stuff.
Wow.
And then I started doing a bunch of films. And one of my first cartoons. Oh yeah, I did The Little Mermaid. Me and 3 other singers, we did Kiss the Girl, Under the Sea, and the opening song, Mysterious Fathoms Below. But it was funny, that was 84. You know, so we'd already been let go from Motown. And during that time, I was like, I wasn't doing a lot of shows. I was doing tons of sessions. I'm like, I'm fine. And so, but I learned something. So on the Kiss the Girl, they asked me to do some ad libs. And I'm sitting up here, I'm like, y'all want me to do some ad libs on this cartoon? I mean, like, what type of ad libs? They said, no, I want you to do what you do. I'm like, are y'all serious? Seriously. So if you listen to the end of Kiss the Girl, we're going like, why don't you kiss the girl? And you'll hear this, go and kiss the girl. All this little soulful. And so it's like, okay, but this is what I learned. So let's say, Joyce, me, you, and Ray Mack, we're all singing together, right? That's group, you know, they call it, it's a SAG-AFTRA. They have a group rating. That's group 3 to 9. Up to 9, you all gonna get the same money. One person has to be the contractor. But if you step out, you get that plus a solo scale. So then I was like, when they wanted me to ad lib in the future, once I learned it, I'm like, okay, I ain't asked no questions.
I
don't blame you.
Exactly. I learned a lot from that one session. I was like, oh.
Yes.
But yeah. No, it's been fun. It's been fun over the years, but it's been a lot.
Wow.
Well, which songs are just? I think most of all. Is it most of all? No, that's the one.
Most of all is on my website. That's me and a buddy of mine. His name is Todd. We wrote that. It was actually he wanted to write a song for his bride to be. Her name is Debbie, and I said, man, let's not write a wedding song. Let's just write a song. You know what I mean? That could be used for a wedding.
Yeah.
Right.
And most of all, that's on my website. That's like the first one on my website. But yeah, that's you know, that was technically for his wedding, but that song has been used quite a bit for a lot of weddings. But yeah, that's me and Todd. We wrote that together. Todd Carlin.
Okay.
Well, that's part of my songwriting. Huh?
I think I heard that one has had the most streams in terms of songs that you wrote, not Switch. We're talking about you.
Well, as a songwriter, you remember the song "Just Call My Name" by Allison Williams?
Yeah.
I co-wrote that. It was me, Denzel Miller, and Ken Curry, and I'm doing all the backgrounds. That 4-part harmony, that's me doing that. Just call all those harmonies.
Yeah.
Right.
Stuff we did, but yeah, so as a songwriter, that was one of my biggest hits. That went to number 3 R&B.
That's amazing.
But I've had a lot, you know, on Janet's first album, me and Zane wrote a song called "Forever Yours," and we had a song on Patty Austin's album called "Fine Fine Fella." Temptations, we did a song called "Running." So yeah, as a songwriter, I've had quite a few songs. That's what I'm saying. You got that side, you got the musician side, you got the artist side. You mean backgrounds on a bunch of. That's why I was saying. You know, I think Ray, you was asking me, am I still in Ohio? I'm like, no, I couldn't do all that stuff. I couldn't do all that stuff in Ohio.
No.
I mean, technically now you can, because you know they can send you a file. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that technology wasn't available back then.
Exactly.
Right.
You had to go physically to the studio. Yeah, some days I'd have 3 or 4 sessions in a day. I mean, like from 10 o'clock and got home about 8 or 9 o'clock at night.
Wow.
It was well worth it, though.
Sessions, yeah, it is.
Especially now, because, you know, you're older and, you know, you see all like the strikes and stuff with the Screen Actors Guild. I mean, literally, most of my income is residuals and royalties from stuff in the past.
Yes.
The most stuff I do now, I do some sessions, nothing like the 80s, 90s. And I do, you know, Switch, we still do live shows. And for 17 years, I was also working with Sheen Easton doing live shows. So.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been great. I've had the pleasure of working with a whole lot of people.
And when we were off the air, we were talking about several artists that you worked with or were familiar with or had a relationship with on whatever level, whether it was music or friendship. And you were talking about Rick James. What did you know about Rick James and the last time you talked to him?
Well, we all got signed around the same time, because when when we first got there, and Tina Marie, when we first met her, we thought she was an employee because we didn't know they had signed a white artist. And her and I became friends. When I heard her, I'm like, "Dang, this girl is phenomenal."
Yeah.
And Rick, he had the You and I. So You and I, They'll Never Be. There was a group called High Energy. Our records came out all around the same time.
Right.
So Rick and I, we did a lot of promotional stuff together over the years. But we had lost contact and stuff. And then one day I saw him. We're at the Verizon store. I was getting me a new phone. This was years ago, and I saw him, and we went and hugged. But he was coughing, and it was August. I remember it was like one of these hot days like today. And I'm like, "You okay?" He said, "Yeah, man, it's just one of them summer colds." And so he was asking, "What are you guys doing?" I said, "Switch got back together. We got back together in 2000." I said, "So we're doing shows." He said, "Philip, you kidding? Man, we got to do some shows together." I said, "I'd love to." You know what I mean? And he was doing some stuff with Tina. He said, "I got to finish up some stuff." But man, and so I said, "Oh, hold up." So I called Greg Williams. I said, "Hey, man, I got somebody I want you to talk to." And we were like, it was like a reunion. And so exchanged numbers and said, okay, once he finished his stuff with Tina, we'll talk about doing some shows together. 3 days later, he was gone. And it was, when you haven't seen somebody in a while and then you run into them, and it's like, now the cough was more than what it was, but we just thought it was like some sinus issues in December, which happens. But
I happened to be watching TV, and I saw Rick James on there on I think it might have been Judge Judy.
Judy, really?
I did not know that one.
I'm
Me either.
Yeah.
Rick James was on Judge Judy.
He was
That's
on
funny.
Judge Judy, and
Wow.
this guy that he was suing, got his keyboard was gonna play his, paying for his keyboard and never paid him, like $2,000 or something like that.
Oh, that's funny.
Wow.
But he walked out of there with his money.
Judge Judy.
And he had picked up a lot of weight.
Huh.
Yeah, he
A
had.
lot of weight.
Yeah, last time I saw him.
Yes. You couldn't even tell he was Rick James. I'm talking about his face was just full.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, and he'll get upset if you don't recognize him, right?
Well, yeah, he probably would. But when I saw him, I said, before he came on there, when he walked through the door, I said, that's Rick James. But
Did he still have the braids?
he had the braids.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm talking about his face was just blowed up. Ain't no telling what was wrong with him then.
Yeah.
You don't know.
But you didn't know he was on Judge Judy?
I didn't know that.
I
No.
didn't either.
Yeah.
That's funny.
hilarious.
Yeah.
That is
I'll have to
wild.
find an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see it too because we know
think it
Rick
was,
James.
I'm pretty sure it was Rick James.
Mhm.
Not Rick James, but Judge Judy. Because at that same time was Judge Judy and Judge Mathis, but I don't think it was
Yeah.
Mathis.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of my on-camera things that a lot of people was did you ever see the movie My Best Friend's Wedding?
Yes.
I've heard of it.
Yes.
That's Julia
I think I did
Roberts.
see it.
Yeah.
That's
It was a
Julia
black
Roberts
movie.
and Carmen Diaz. Yeah,
No, that's not the one I'm thinking of.
that was came out like '97. Anyway, I'm the wedding singer at the end of that film, singing "I Say a Little Prayer for You"
Oh,
on
yeah.
camera.
Very
And so when people were like, "Hey, that's Philip," it was all during that time. It was doing a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, you had a head full of hair.
Yeah, hey man, come on.
Yeah, the head full. Like you go, oh yeah, so much hair like he's getting ready to fly away with all that hair.
But going back to when you were talking about the image for Switch, when it what was his name that pulled you guys together, was looking for a certain image.
Oh, Greg Williams, yeah.
Greg Williams, yeah, Greg. I'm sure he looked at. I got, how many were you? 6, 7, 8 of
With
us?
6 of us.
6.
Technically, here's what happened. This is sad. It was 7 of us. Because we were one of the first bands that did a record without a guitar player in the band. But we did have a guitar player. His name was Melvin Clark. I mean, funky cat. Boy was, stupid. But there was some issues. It was really sad that basically I I guess he had been out in California, had some warrants that hadn't been addressed, and then here we are years later, and he got arrested. Motown had to pull him out, and long story short, they called Greg, and Greg said, told Greg something to the effect like, we know bands love to, keep their band members together, but we don't, we think y'all need to make a decision. And it was hard because we're still friends and stuff today, but we had to let him go. And Jermaine Jackson, he was working with us. He said, "Don't worry about that." He said, at the time it was Michael McGlory. So, there'll never be that. That's Michael McGlory. He was Jermaine's guitar player, and he said, "Get the hit records. You can always get somebody to tour with you."
Yes.
So now Michael McGlory is playing with us. That's why you got me, Greg, and Eddie as originals, and then you got Michael McGlory. It's like having 4 original band members. So we sound just like we did back then. That's what people are like, "How y'all doing this?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" They say, "You still got it." I'm like, "Well, if I give it away, I can't work."
That's right.
Well, who's doing Bobby's part?
Oh, go ahead, Ray. I'm sorry, what?
Prince just told me, just said it was Judge Joe Brown.
Oh, okay. Judge Joe Brown.
I know that.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Judge Joe Brown. She just made that correction.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So, Joyce, to answer your question, it's a guy named Akili Nixon, and he there was I can't think of his name. It was a buddy that sent Greg a record, and he said, "Hey man," he was working with this guy named Akili. No, his last name. Anyway, up in Northern California, and he said, "Hey man, Greg, you need to hear this guy. He sounds like DeBarge." And that's me. That's Ziggy in the background. So
It's all right.
I know it's echo, but anyway. Reason I you know how you can change the names to different names, so I changed mine to Ziggy because Ziggy was the hologram in Quantum Leap.
Oh yeah.
I done an episode of Quantum Leap, so I'm like,
Oh wow. Okay.
But Akili Nixon, he sent doing this, and we were like, wow. So Greg called me over, and I went and I said, "Are you kidding me?" And this guy, I mean, he's phenomenal. But his real gig, he's an attorney, and so he does the stuff with us. But it's been a nice. He put it like this: he doesn't look like, but he sounds enough like that when we do our stuff. That's why people are like, wow, because you got me, him, Greg's singing, and then Eddie took Tommy's parts now. That that we would do on the records and stuff. So everything sounds like it did back then. That's what I told you when we do our shows with some of our colleagues. They always talk about, like if we do I Want to Be Close, or if we do Calling on Our Girls, they got that 4-part harmony. They just like, man, y'all harmonies are just
really good.
Off the chain.
Yeah, that's awesome. Man.
That's beautiful.
It is.
Thank you.
I also was saying back in, because I was a teenager when I heard you guys. And
girl, so was I.
And everybody was looking really cute. That's what they're doing. He knew, Greg, he knew exactly what he was doing. Getting talented guys, all looking good. You were nice about it. You said, "Oh, looking neat." Nah, what he was doing, looking for good-looking guys.
But it's still unique though to find somebody but plays multiple instruments and can sing. I'm telling you, it's like that's kind of like a tall task.
Yeah.
Well, I get it. I mean, it worked for In Vogue. In Vogue, you have to admit, they could all sing, but these beautiful ladies coming in and their cute dresses.
Yep.
That added to it. So I do get it.
Right.
But I thought about, as you were saying, I said, now, he saw good looking guys, talented, put them together, and all of us teenage girls would go crazy. And we did.
Well, I was not a teenager when I was listening to him.
Yeah, you're old.
But
your early 20s at the time?
30s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
30s.
probably in my late 30s, late 20s, early 30s.
When we got signed, I was 18, turning 19. So
that's amazing.
As I said, still a teenager. Me and Tommy were the youngest. We were 18, and Bobby and Eddie was 20. I think Greg was 20. I think 24. It was like 6 years, and then Jody was 28.
Y'all were all babies.
Yeah.
Did y'all have to grow up fast in this industry? Did you have to grow up fast? I mean, did you have a shocking experience where all of a sudden women are chasing you, groupies, and what have you?
Well, you know what? I have to tell you, Jermaine Jackson, they managed us for a while, him and Hazel. They were really good because they had lived all of those experiences with the Jackson 5. So because they had lived it, they shared a lot of stuff with us, which helped us, especially during that time. But yes, we did have that. But the first time we did a, like a album signing, when we didn't perform, we learned we don't wear scarves, don't wear rings, don't wear no necklace or anything, because they just be grabbing. Next thing you know, you got scratches and stuff. So we learned the hard way. But he didn't tell us that until, and they went with us up to Detroit. They stayed in the hotel because he didn't want to take away. But we were like, it was pandemonium. We were like, whoa, wait a minute, he got scratches and watch going, you know what I mean? So he said, so now you know, when you're doing this type of stuff, don't wear no jewelry, don't wear no scarves. I lost a scarf that I had on, So because of him telling us after the fact, moving forward, we wouldn't do that. And even getting too close to the stage. One time we were doing I Want to Be Closer, and I was singing to this girl, and I was bending down, and she grabbed my pants leg, and all I saw was myself falling over. Stage aside. It didn't happen. But you know how you can see it happening?
Yes.
I actually stopped singing. I said, oh, wait. And I backed up, and I said, I ain't never doing that again. So you learned.
Well, let me ask you this. Since y'all was teenage idols and all that.
Mac, be nice.
I already know it happened. And,
be nice.
And Phil probably knew it too.
Get ready, Phil.
Certain things thrown up on the stage, I know.
Oh, yeah. That was, at one time, some of these,
dirty old man.
Some of these magazines and stuff was calling us like Black Beatles. You know what I mean? That type of That's why I said it was so sad to see that we had this success. And I heard this years later. I was like, interesting. They said the worst thing about success is a little bit, because if you can't handle that, you can't handle the bigger stuff. We had 2 platinum albums. Okay, Earth, Wind, and Fire had multiple platinum albums. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm like, okay. And so that's what I'm saying. So when Bobby said, I think the lyrics are fine, I'm like, come on, man. Yeah. But, that's why when, actually the reason I left the group, we had Motown let us go. And I'm like, okay, let's go to another record company. And Jody Sims, we were having a band meeting, and he wanted to get Bobby and Tommy back in the group and then go to another record company. And I was like, I remember I was like 23 years old, and I said, man, I love him dearly, but I'm like, no, I can't do it. That's it. But if that's what y'all need, and that's when I left. And I just believed in, me.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, so that's when I started doing a whole bunch of other stuff. And so it's for years, we were separated, and then we semi got back together in 95, and it didn't work. But in 2000, when Greg called me, I said, Greg, because we still did stuff over the years. I even worked on Bobby's album too, that, me and him sang background, that he did the solo record.
Okay.
But we were like, I just said, Greg, I said, we don't have a record deal. We're all doing different things. I'm like, if we could just do it and have fun, it's fine. But if it's gonna be a bunch of mess, I ain't interested.
You don't want to definitely go through that again.
Yeah. So that's when that happened. It was like, and we've been back together since 2000. So it's been 23 years. And been doing shows and stuff. But it's been great. It's been, we're all older. It's like, just, man, let's make some music. We got it's great that we can work off our hits. You know what I mean? Let's do that.
Right.
Enjoy it.
Well,
other mess.
Yeah.
But like I said, it gave y'all all a chance to grow more in what you're doing, because you was relatively young when all this was happening.
Exactly.
And like I said, a matter of time, it's gonna help. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
So you can move on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when we first got back together, Tommy was with us, but then he started having some health issues. And then we got a guy named James Strong. And then James had moved, and then that's when we got Dion Estes. He was when I told you to play with Wham.
Okay.
If you go on my YouTube channel, it was sad because they died 10 days apart from each other. And we did a thing out here at the country club in Agoura Hills. And we did it like remembering Tommy and Dion. And Akili put together these really nice videos of both Tommy's history and stuff with Switch and Dion with Wham and stuff.
Okay.
So it's on my YouTube channel, which is the Philip Ingram channel, but they literally died 10 days apart.
Wow.
Just older with health issues and so James is back with us now, James Strong.
Okay. Now, one thing I wanted to ask is before I guess you guys got together with Switch and got your deal and everything, how long was it that your brother James was out in the business before then?
James, like I said, it was 6 of us. I'm the youngest of 6. All my brothers are gone now. My brother David died a month before James. He died December 2018. James was January 2019. My oldest brother Henry died August 2021. So it's just me and my 2 sisters. But when I was 14, when James was 14, I was 8. We're 6 years apart. He would take me on rehearsals. When I was 14, he was 20. I got into my first band, Raw Soul, like I was telling you.
Yeah.
So James goes to California, hustling and trying to find stuff. And here I am, 18 years old. I'm calling him up, telling him that I'm going to come to California. He's like, for what? The first thing I said, well, man, you ain't the only one who can go to California. And then when I told him that our band got a record deal, he like, what do you mean you got a record deal? I'm like, and I told him what happened. Jermaine had heard our tape, and he said, Philip, are you serious? I'm like, James, yes, I'm coming to California. I mean, he was really happy. He was very supportive. And so he was around. Howard Hewitt is also from Akron. And we were all like in local bands, growing up together. And so they would be down in the studio when we were recording. And then Howard, he got the thing with Shalimar. And that was about 1.5 years after us being here. And then after that, it was about 3 years after that when James, I think it was 81, yeah. Because we got signed at 77, so in about 4 years. Okay. 81 is when Just Once came out.
Yeah.
And then in 82, that's when he, and that album, I mean, I don't know if that'll ever be repeated. That was nominated for 12 Grammys. And I think they won something like 7 out of 12, in the different categories.
Yeah.
That was that was nuts.
Wow.
And, then of course, Quincy was doing Michael Off the Wall, and he was doing Thriller. So actually, right after I left Switch, me, like I said, me and James started, you guys know Phil Perry?
Yeah.
The singer Phil Perry?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Us 3, worked on tons of background records, singing together, the 3 of us, on a lot of hits. And so what happened, when Quincy was doing that Dude tour, he asked me and asked Phil if we wanted to do that tour with him. So me and Phil Perry and a lady named Edie Lehman sang background, and she ended up being it was either General Hospital. It was a soap opera she was on for a couple of years where she, but yeah, us 3 did backgrounds on that Dude tour in 1982. So literally right after I left Switch, I did that tour with Quincy, with James, me and Phil Perry. But after that, me, James, and Phil Perry, and Edie, on different stuff. But me, James, and Phil, we did so many records together. It was nice.
Wow.
And, just having fun.
That's so cool.
You never missed a beat.
No, he
Nope.
hasn't.
You know what I mean? From the time you were a teenager, even before Switch.
Yeah.
You just never missed a beat, and you've had a very fruitful career in music.
I've been blessed enough to I've pretty much done music since I was 14. I'll be 65 in July. But here's what's interesting. It also goes back to how you treat people too. Talent is one thing.
Yes.
But people don't after a while they get tired of working with some cocky folks. The talent is great, but it's like, come on, man. But we would never, I mean, I was never ever that. So it was like, that's what made it fun.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about that is, I've spoken like, high schools and stuff, and I'll ask them, what's the difference between being cocky and confident? And they, did some good answers and stuff. I said, very good. I said, now which one you think will give you longevity?
Yeah.
Because we got to be confident, but if you're a jerk to work with,
nobody want to deal with it. Nobody want to deal with that, you know.
Get blacklisted.
Exactly.
I don't even give a damn if you better than sliced bread. Ain't nobody want to deal with that attitude.
That's the point.
I would just leave it at home.
Yep.
So that's where over the years I'm like, you mean I didn't care who I was working with. This is who I am. Somebody asked me, what do you want to be remembered for? I said, well, the music is going to live on, right? But I want to be more remembered for, you know what? When we worked together, it was a pleasant experience.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Instead of like, why do you think Andre keeps referring me to different people? His files and jury keep me like, no, y'all don't want to talk to him. Like, nah, trust me, y'all don't want him.
That's funny.
Seriously.
But
I mean, I've got so many stories of so many people that, how they say, shot themselves. It was so sad. I won't tell you who it was because, but it was a big deal. But all I can say is I was getting called. I won't even say the company because you might figure it out. But anyway, I got called, and they were going to use this song that we sang on for a, like for a different. In other words, in a different capacity. That's for lack of a better word. And they have to pay you for that, right?
Yeah.
And but it was no residuals. Just it's like a one-time usage. And I said, okay. And so we had to sign an agreement. It was like 2 songs from that we sang on something. And this lady said, "You're so nice." I was like, "Honey, you just called me up and gave me some money that I wasn't expecting, right?" Then she says, "Yeah, but," then she goes on to tell me the story about this person they called. And they were like, the person said, "Well, if it's not a residuals, I'm not doing it." And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Oh, wow.
And so shot himself in the foot. And so they had to replace that person because it was a big company. They gonna get the songs out. They found somebody that sounded similar. I'm like, so that's what I mean, little stuff like that. I'm like, so she thanking me because I'm like, honey, I'm thanking you. You calling me, give me some money I didn't know I was gonna get.
No doubt.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm gonna say, no, I don't want you to use it. Like, yeah, you can use it.
Wow. Well, I know even in my experience with my band and throughout the years, whatever, and it really, I found out that when somebody hires you to play with their band, what I try to do is make it not to be add extra work to the leader of the band.
Right.
Make myself useful.
Yeah.
Because I remember a guy told me, he was in a band that had 2 keyboard players. He said, "Can you believe the leader of the band told me I'm going to let you go because the other keyboard player's doing all the work?" So I realized I only need one. He said, "I wish you had told me something." And I wanted to tell this guy, no, he shouldn't have to tell you.
Right.
If you knew what your assignment was, you make yourself useful. You make it when you get ready to work and make yourself useful. And if you add to what he's doing, well, I need him. I mean, most people don't book a trombone player, but there's a trombone player. He is so amazingly useful. He adds to the show. I'll call him at a heartbeat, and say, "Hey, you add to the show." And so I think that you whatever you're doing in music or any business, try not to be a burden to the person. If you see a challenge, try to work it out yourself and say, "Hey, this happened. This is my solution. What do you think?"
Right.
Instead of saying, "Well, I don't know what to do."
Right. But
So
it's funny. That's honestly, that's why I've had relationships and worked with so many different people over the years. We just all had fun. It's like, man, come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Even when, it's funny to say that because I told you I worked with Sheena Easton for 17 years.
Yeah.
I did all the duets with her, but until she brought me up, I'm singing background. Stay where you go.
Right.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't go be doing background trying to outside. Huh?
You don't mind singing background.
Honey.
You're a lead artist. You definitely a lead artist. But I've heard people who've not had even close to success and notoriety that you have. Oh, I didn't do background.
But see, let me see this. I'm telling you, this is interesting. It's funny you bring that up because I was in the high school choir. You know what I mean? And then I get in switch, and we doing these vocals like I Want to Be Closer, 4-part harmonies and stuff. So that was all. That was learning. The first thing I did, Jermaine Jackson. I did some stuff with him. Matter of fact, on our 5th album, we did a song called I'll Always Keep That he wrote, but him and I are doing all the backgrounds and his 4 parts and stuff. So I'm learning all of that. And so I did something with Tina on Square Biz, did a little bit on that. Oh. But then after that, I started getting calls for these sessions. I'm like, yeah, I mean, background is fine.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you meet these people and then they start calling you, but it had nothing to do with, okay, yeah. I mean, switch is great, but what it means. But see, my brother did too. Remember the song called Heart of Mine by Boss Skaggs?
Yeah.
Me, James, Phil Perry singing background.
See?
James was a Grammy award-winning artist. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It had nothing to do with that. It's like, hey man, y'all want to do a session? Matter of fact, I was calling James for so many sessions after he did his first album, after the Dude album. And he called me one day. He said, "Hey man, I love working with you, but I need to get back to my own career." I said, "Okay." I said, "James, trust me, you ain't the only singer I know in town." But no, seriously, we had a lot of fun, and
yeah,
we worked on a lot of records. Did you ever hear that? This is a funny one that a lot of people don't know this because they thought it was women. Donna Summer did a record called "Finger on the Trigger." You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that one.
When you listen to it, it's the highest song that's me, James, and Phil Perry that I've ever sung in my life.
Wow.
And James co-wrote PYT with Quincy.
Did? Oh, I didn't
that's
know that.
him and Howard and them singing that. So, you know what I mean? We did what we did, like when we were a local band. We would sing.
Right?
Yeah, Howard Hewitt.
Yeah. Wow.
We did what we did back then in local bands and brought it to, you know what I mean? Even though we were artists, established artists, but I'm like, yeah, that's why I got to sing on so many records.
Man, that is so cool.
I didn't care. Honey,
Oh,
Joyce, the money is the same. It's like,
that's right. That's right.
That part.
and I've been on a bunch of hit records, seriously.
And
Like if you sit and read, because a lot of people don't read credits, but if you read credits, you'd be like, wow.
Yeah.
That's him again.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom, that's that man.
Yeah, right.
And then it's great though to be able to say, yeah, I was on this particular record, I was on this one. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Oh yeah. No, it's been fun. I mean, and again, a lot of relationships with different people. And it's funny, of all genres, you'll like this story, because this girl named Sherry Sutcliffe. You remember when Bruce Willis, he did a couple albums called Bruno.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that?
Yeah. I never
It was
heard
right after he did Moonlighting, he did this album called Bruno, and I'm singing on that. But see, this was because of a lady named Sherry Sutcliffe. Again, because she would call me. She was a project coordinator, putting together singers and stuff. And she'd always say, you're always fun in the studio, and it's like you can take a tense moment and make it light, and so people remember that type of stuff. But the funniest call, so I had done, I told you I did my best friend's wedding. I also sang in The Wedding Singer. I sang with Adam Sandler on a couple of those. So then she calls me, and she says, "This bad." She said, "Philip, you ever thought about doing the Country Music Awards?" I said, "What? So I can get home?" She said, "You're a fool." And so she said, "No, it's with Willie Nelson and Leanne Womack." I said, "Are you serious?"
Wow.
She's like, "Yes." So I did the Country Music Awards, met Willie Nelson, worked on and Leanne Womack. They had the song called Mendocino County Line. I didn't sing on the record, but I did that show with them and did the Tonight Show with them. But see, again,
that is so cool.
Reason I share that story, here you got this R&B soulful singer singing background on a country record.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Music is music.
Exactly. There's a local band.
I love it.
they're known for blues, Marcy, and the Texas Sugar Daddies. And, that's the name of the band.
Sugar Daddies, okay.
And I'm not a sugar daddy, but I was, the sugar mama in the group, I
Right.
guess, in the back. And they brought a country song, and she pointed for me to solo.
On sax?
How do you solo a sax on a country song? I'm used, you know what I mean, R&B, straight ahead.
Right.
And you don't turn things down. So I did it.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good. And
There you go. It's just, and the thing is, there's obviously that genre you wouldn't be, you just sing the, you don't add all the other stuff, all the licks and all that stuff, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's been great. I mean, with Japanese, I work with a bunch of Latin artists, a lot of big, like Pepe Aguilar, Juan Gabriel, you know what I mean? A lot of these big Latin artists. And because again, you just, you're singing, you know the parts, but Japanese artists, Italian artists over the years.
Yeah.
But when I'm teaching, like, I used to teach at a college. I taught vocals for about 3.5 years out here at the California College of Music. And I would tell our students, I would always ask them what is it they want to accomplish. And then, okay, whether as part of your journey, what are you willing to do to make that happen? You know what I mean? So a couple of students actually used in the studio because they were very good. You know what I mean? And but I would take them to sessions with me. I mean, because, you know what radio station IDs are, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've done tons of those for different, it doesn't matter. It's like, it's all music.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's stuff I would teach the students. I said, there's a lot of work out here, but if you get caught up in, oh no, man, please, man, that fame only lasts for so long. You know what I mean?
Right. That's right.
And you can count the many people that's crossed decades. It ain't a whole lot.
Right.
That is true.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
yeah.
I mean, Switch had about a big 5-year run, but our music still lives on. A lot of people have redone it. That keeps us alive. But you know what I'm saying? It's if you get caught up in all of that mess, then. But like I said, James and I, even Howard, he had his hits with Shalimar. James had his hits as a solo artist. We sang on called him for a session in a heartbeat. We'd do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and
we had a lot of fun doing it too. You know what I mean? So,
I bet.
And I mean, I'm glad you said that because we have a lot of independent artists who listen to the show, and that's always one of my questions. What advice do you have for us indie artists? Gary and I are both indie artists, and
cool.
Gary is more a producer.
Right.
I'm very much less a producer. He's very good at it.
I just show up.
What did you say, Ray?
He said, I just show up.
Yeah, well, you do too. Late. But anyway.
That's funny.
But anyway, but finding it's a challenge when we as indie artists that we haven't had platinum records in our background.
Right.
I mean, literally starting from scratch and building our own. What do you think about indie artists like us who said, you know what, I'm going to do music and I'm going to use this information age, internet, and what have you to create my own lane?
Honestly, I think it's wonderful because you use what you have at the time. Like, remember I told you our little group, Raw Soul? When I was 16, believe it or not, the OJs, Eddie Levert and Walt Williams, they heard us and they recorded us. And we thought, they had a studio up in Cleveland. We were like, and we were excited. Like, that was it. And we recorded 2 songs. They even singing background on it, and I co-wrote both of them. And I'm like, man, we're going to do this, right? And nothing happened. So it's like, but 2 years later, you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, but you use what you have at the time because see, let's face it, when I saw the whole music industry shift, think about it. Let's go back to us. We had to pound the pavement, find someone I always tell them, find someone who believes in you as much as you believe in yourself, right? You find that person. For us, it was Jermaine Jackson. For my brother James, it was Quincy Jones.
Okay.
People don't know this. James was signed as a solo artist to RCA Records, and they dropped him. He did
Wow.
that they didn't even put out.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
For whatever reason, they didn't see it. Then it became a household name a few years later. So, so you do what you have to do. So when we did that stuff, we did what we did. We got a hit. We became famous, right? Star Search was kind of like pre-American Idol.
I remember it.
Okay, but that's where Sinbad came from. Tracy Ross, and you had some singers. Darrell Coleman, he won Star Search, and I actually worked with him on one of his albums. And this is funny. He asked for me. You're talking about being a nice person. One time we were in Roanoke, Virginia. He had saw us, and I'm leaving the hotel, and this, the doorman stops to talk to me, and basically I gave him the time of day. I mean, it's like we talked, and so this guy goes on to win Star Search. It's Darrell Coleman, and he asked for me specifically. So I go to the studio, and he said, "Hey, no, man." He said, "We met." I said, "When did we meet?" He said, "You remember that doorman at the hotel back?" I said, "Are you kidding me?"
He's the doorman.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's again how you treat people.
That's true.
Nobody would have asked for me if I was a jerk.
No.
So the experience of working on his album. But what I'm saying is, when American Idol came out, now here's where it shifted. People were famous and didn't have a hit. We get a hit to become famous. Now the game has changed. And some of those that won didn't go on to do like a Kelly Clarkson. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
That was it.
Or Fantasia, yeah.
They were famous, but didn't get no hits.
Yeah.
So the game changed though after that. And then, social media, the internet. So I definitely encourage it because some have been able to do it. I mean, this was sad at one point. Do you know this? Some people that I was working with shopping record deals, and they were like, almost like how many hits. It's almost like they wanted them to already have a following, and then they could take it to the next level. I'm like, man, it's so different. We didn't have any following.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was about the music. Barry Gordy heard the music and said, we can do something with this. So it flipped. And so that's what's making it a challenge. And the other thing that's making it a bigger challenge too is the streaming services. Because back then, you sold records. You could count the records that you sold.
Right.
Now they tell you it's so many downloads. Yeah, okay. You almost have to hire an accountant to make sure. I mean, it's changed. It's changed. So, and the streaming is, so that's why a lot of people, their biggest money now is made touring. I'm just happy that, a little bit after Switch, the 80s, 90s, part of 2000, I was doing a lot of sessions and stuff. And, then I started doing some more live stuff again. Then Switch got back together.
Yeah.
But like now, it's not I'm not doing a whole lot of recording sessions like I used to, where it was like, I told you, like 3 or 4 sessions a day sometimes.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I encourage it, but it's what you have at present. We didn't have this back then. You know what I mean?
It was definitely different back then.
It is different.
I like the really the older way to promote your music, where you go in actually into terrestrial radio, then you don't have the record stores and stuff like that, to get it out there. And, even promoting your album on all these download platforms, just like Joyce always said, how in the hell you gonna split a penny?
Yeah, no, it's a challenge today.
I'd never seen that before. I looked at my royalties and said, what is that? 0.00.
Right.
What is that?
But see, here's the other thing that it's done. Because think about it, back then, you couldn't get into a record company because they had people that, you had to know somebody to get into a record, you know what I mean? Or unless, like in our case, Jermaine was there and he kindly accepted I was working with Olivia Newton-John one day, and we were in New York. We did the Today Show. We got in the limo to go back to the airport, and this guy didn't ask her to listen to his music. You know, she was nice enough to be waving at people, and the guy just threw a cassette in there. And she was like, what am I supposed to do with this? I mean, this was Olivia Newton-John. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, because they don't know.
Right.
Where at least in the case with Jermaine, Greg them asked.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, yeah, he could have said, no, but he said, yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you know, it's better than, you know, you walking into a radio station and you throw your spiel at them, everything. Then you sit back, they throw you on the shelf, but you still call them to add it to the playlist.
Right.
Boy, and I tell you, boy, I had hell, but I got it played.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I finally got it played, and there wasn't no payover.
Right.
How I carried myself.
Right.
Most this group, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But see, that's what I'm saying. It's been a shift. You know, I saw that a lot of people becoming famous, and you know, they were able to create a lot of work. You know what I mean? But didn't have the big hits.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They were famous enough that you could go do shows and stuff. Sometimes I'll be doing these shows with Sheena Easton at different places. I'm like, oh, I remember them on you know, America, or I remember them on that type of thing.
Right.
And some did, you know, had some great careers, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, it does, you know, it's another platform. But things change from the time that we did it to the way things are now. Yeah, back then you had to have a hit record to become famous. Now you can be famous, and I think that's the other thing. Social media has allowed anybody to do. You know what I mean? And some of those that do have the great talent may not have the skills of how to market themselves.
Right.
That's really
Right.
down to.
Yeah.
But you know, I think a lot of them is learning how to, you know, if they doing original stuff, is keeping their catalog.
Yep.
They're learning that issue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Although they may sign, if they sign with a label, they got their own catalog, but then, you know, they shouldn't let the label buy their catalog from them, because it's hell to get it back.
Exactly.
To them,
Exactly.
you know.
Yep. But yeah, that's the difference. So, Joyce, to answer your question, I definitely encourage it because it's the venue that we have now.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't know how to market, that's, you know, like with the stuff I do, you know, just for my stuff, I'm constantly getting, because people will ask me, but you know, I'm not doing like nothing like really marketed, because I'm not doing it for that reason. It's just more like when people say, "Where you performing? Can you let me know?" I'm like, "Yeah, join my mailing list." So when I type out an email, it'll go to you, and if you open it, cool. If not, I'm cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I know too many people to be like, "Hey, man, I'm playing." You know, it's like, "Oh, Philip is playing." There you go. Got it.
Well, I subscribe to your mailing list, so I'll be knowing where you're performing. I see you're going back to Akron,
girl.
to your hometown, Akron.
Yep.
I think I saw that.
Well, yeah, we were actually. I didn't know our high school had a Hall of Fame, and I got inducted into our high school Hall of Fame back in April. I was like,
yes.
yeah, I'm like, I knew they had one, and then my sister Joyce told me. It's my oldest sister. She said, "Well,
Good name.
yeah, right. That's right. That's right." She said, "Well, accept it," because she said they did a thing for James after he died. I said, "Okay, I'll accept it."
Mm-hmm.
But it was funny. Then the month after that, these guys in Cleveland, they did the Greatest R&B Legend Awards, and Switch was the honorees. So 2 months in a row, I got to go back to my hometown, and then he wanted to do a little thing for James. They did a like a Lost Legend Award, and so since my family was there, I had them accept that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I told Joyce, my sister Joyce, that award. But it was funny because, you know, Switch did a little performance. So that's what you're talking about. We performed back there then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Now, are
Nice
you
to go
guys,
back home.
or have you, now that you guys are playing again, are y'all trying to come up with like a new record too, or anything?
We've done a couple of things.
Okay.
They one was like semi-released,
Mhm.
but it's put it like this. It's not like it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's not like we're anxious. You know what I mean?
Right,
Okay.
right.
Yeah. Because you know, like Eddie, he does a lot of work. You know, we all got stuff going on besides Switch. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Where back then this was it, and that was the way to go, and that was the way, and you know, but you know, and as you get older, let's face it, you know, we were told even back then, you might still get hits, but not like you did back then, because the biggest, I remember Barry Gordy telling us, he said your biggest record buyers back then are going to be from about 15 to 30, 15 to 35, roughly.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
And you look at your own life, you probably did that too. That over the years, you're like, you know, but see, like I said, now it's streaming. Now you can see this. It was brilliant from the record company's point of view, right?
Right.
You take these companies, Spotify, Amazon Music, right, Apple Music. They charge you $7.99, $8.99, whatever, right?
Right.
You got access to billions of songs. So that's the way now. But now when you break, so Joyce, what you're talking about, you get your little royalty statements like, what's this? Because now that pool. So think about it. They're making the biggest money because there's no physical product anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
You mean it can just stream to all these devices, and so. But back then you had to buy an album. The friends, I mean, people be like, "Oh man, yeah," like you said, you're looking at these pictures, you can read stuff about them. Yeah, those days are gone.
Liner notes. and
Well,
all.
you know, here in the, I guess it's over in Grand Prairie, Arlington, and they have a huge record store called Forever Young.
Oh, nice.
And I'm telling you, they got everything and anything for music and the formats.
Nice.
Yeah, oh man, I'm telling you, people running there, boy, I'm talking about, I've seen them come out with just tons of albums. And plus they still, here in Dallas, over in Dallas, they're pressing wax.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. And you know, and there's still a market for that, but you know, the vast majority, you know, they just hop in the car, stream,
Right.
done.
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
Well, that's them, what you call it, the millennium.
All right, Ray Ray.
That's
And
what
they
they
call you Ray Ray.
Well, it has changed, but you know, but definitely continue. But honestly, if you get with people who can help, because I know ones that help market where they take you from here to another level. You know what I mean? And then because that's what they do. I'm telling you, two things I learned from well, I should say one thing I learned from two people, Barry Gordy and Quincy Jones. I would watch them, you know, growing up, and I'm like, they would hire the people that did what they did, and they got out their way. Barry did what he did well. Quincy did what he did well. But, you know, he didn't do this, but he hired somebody that knew how to do that, and he let them do it.
Yeah.
You know, he oversaw it, but I'm like, okay. So I started doing the same type of thing.
But they wasn't micromanaging.
Exactly.
That's what they wasn't doing, micromanage.
Right.
And
So that's why that made them successful. You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
You know,
Like,
you know,
something this simple. Rock With You, right? Michael Jackson, Rock With You, written by Rod Temperton. Quincy produces it, right?
Yeah.
The first thing you hear is stick it to the bago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was John Robinson. He used to be a Rufus, the drummer for Rufus.
Oh.
Do you think Quincy Jones said, "Hey John, I want you to play"? You see what I'm saying? That was JR.
Yeah.
That was John. That was him.
Putting his on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's you do that. You know, Quincy was a trumpet, you know, arranger, but I'm just saying, there's little stuff like that, those little classic lines, and that's their artistry, their musicianship. They doing it.
Absolutely.
Same thing he did on, remember Strawberry Letter 23?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good song.
He written out, right? But that drum roll at the end, that's John.
Dang.
Like,
All right.
yeah, and John's talking about Shaka Khan. That's who he was with. He was part of Rufus for years. He was their drummer.
Right.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. So
It is.
again, you get out of people's way. You know, let them do what they do.
Yeah. I guarantee you, some of them need to just stay in their lane. Period.
Well, I must say, James, you sure haven't lost it because I was.
If James is here, I'm leaving. I'm like, let me get out of here.
I mean, Phil, you have not lost it, man. Because I checked out a video, or actually a couple of videos earlier this week where you just came on and you were singing some songs, but your voice was just awesome, man. You have not lost it. Yeah.
But like I said earlier, if I lose that, I can't work.
That's true.
But
you know what happened? I did a couple of online shows, and after I did the shows, then I posted on my YouTube channel.
One thing I know I didn't know is that you were a college professor. I picked up on that.
Yeah, it was more just for the Wayne Henderson. Used to be with the Crusaders. Him and I did a lot of stuff together, and he had got with this college, and he asked me to come over. I said, "Man, I ain't never taught no vocals." He said, "Philip, trust me, just do what you do." And I still have a lot of students that I'm still in touch with. They were from around the world. When I would go in different places, I would always invite them. And so the hardest thing to teach a singer is to be relaxed in any setting.
Okay.
I don't care if you're in a studio, if it's just the four of us sitting here, if it's a big audience, you know what I mean? So all that, if you just focus on just being relaxed, because playing an instrument is one thing, but voice, you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
And if you got all this junk going on in your head, so the owner of that college, her name was Michelle Ishii, and her husband, she said, "Your class is like a psychology class." I'm like, they got talent, but they got all this junk going on in their head, you know what I mean, that they can't, they're not letting it go. They, it's like they got a nice voice, but so I would, let's say Ray, let's say I heard you singing, I'm like, "Okay, Ray, I got a question for you." And this is a question I'll be asking. I'm like, "Hey man, you got a nice voice." "Oh, thank you." "So who in your family or who close to you told you couldn't sing?" And they would look at me like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Come on, you know what I mean, because you're holding back, and there's a reason."
Yeah, because they probably didn't want them to sing.
Yep. Exactly. Somebody told you couldn't, and you chose to believe them.
Yeah.
If they'd have told me something like that, Phil, I just told them, just give me some auto-tune, I'll be all right.
But you know what I'm saying? You can't let people. Somebody told me when I was 12 years old, it was really sad. They said, "Well, what you want to do?" I said, "I'm planning on being a professional singer." They laughed and said, "Well, you better get that out your head." Right? Not my family. My family's totally different. They encouraged, do whatever you need to do. You're an Ingram. My father said, "Here, let me feel your muscle. You're an Ingram. You can do it." You know what I mean? So that person, he was a phenomenal singer himself. He was 2 years older than me. So I'm 12, right? Told you, got to switch when I was 18. So we did our first album, blows up. Our second album blows up. And I'll never forget, but I did not treat this person mean. I'll never forget. Person was living up in San Francisco, calls me for some help in the industry. Like I said, he was a phenomenal singer. Where do you think my mind went? I'm 20 years old. It's 8 years later. My mind went to, wow, it's the same ones that said, "I need to get this out my head."
How'd you hear?
Now you want my help.
They calling for help. But I didn't throw that in his face. I just said, "Well, you moved to LA, I can help you. I don't have the contacts up in San Francisco, but I know a lot of people down here, and you can definitely sing." That's what I told him.
Yeah.
He never moved to LA.
Huh. He stayed right where it's at.
He stayed there, but ended up going back to Akron.
Okay.
And he became like, big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
Well, you see, I think sometimes when they're asking for your help, they really want you to make it easy for them.
Yes.
So help means just connect me, I'm going to sign, and I'm done.
Yeah.
And instead of saying, "Well, here are the tools that I use."
Exactly.
And here it is. You gave him a tool, like you said, move to LA.
Yep.
Now, if you're not ready to make that sacrifice, then I can't help you.
And that's
But
what
you're
happened.
supposed to. I'm gonna call my brother. He's gonna hook me up, and I won't have to go through all that. No, because people call. Well, Joyce, how do you do this? How you do this and that? I said, first, you need a lot of time to learn all this.
Yep.
If you're willing to sit at your computer for hours to figure something out, and I'll point you in a direction, but I can't do it for you because, like your brother James Ingram said, I need to work on my own career.
Yep.
So you have to find that balance. One day my husband said a few years ago, he said, stop collaborating and finish your project.
There you go. Yeah.
Because they move on, they're done, and you still helping. And so finding that balance, I had to say, okay, I can't do it because I'm working on,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's not like back in the day, like you said, you had a label. He had one person, an expert doing this, an expert doing that,
Right.
and he stayed out of the way. He was just overseeing everything. But today, when you're starting your own, it's a different game.
It is.
Yeah, you're
Now-
pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now I have an artist management company, but
Oh, nice.
that's after how long have I been back to music? 13 years.
Oh, wow. Very good, though. Congratulations.
Now, thank you. But it took, and then I like being with Taylor Entertainment Group because we worked together for over a year before we decided. So it was a slow process to find that, because I found out that if you connect with somebody who's bad for you, well, you can do bad all by yourself. You don't need help.
Right.
You damn sure don't.
That's true.
So I'd rather work alone until it's till the right one comes along. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I get it. Trust me.
But
so
you know,
I really applaud your consistency, your success in life.
Thank you.
It's been amazing. See, you can talk about anything and everything.
Yeah.
Not everybody can do that.
You know,
So
you
true.
know,
You can talk
Phil,
about
does-
platinum records. You can talk about being number one. You can talk about being in the background, doing commercials, jingles, movies, everything. Is there something that you haven't done that you want to do?
Well, some I haven't done that I don't want to do.
Oh, I don't want to do. Okay.
I've written songs, I've produced. I tell everybody I've done everything in the industry except for manage.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
a hard job.
And honey, Ray, come on. Because I'm going to tell you, even, you can tell I love having fun.
Oh
If
yeah.
I get a new singer that I like and I find out he's a jerk, I guarantee you,
You through.
we'll never be on another session again if I'm contracting, ever. I don't care how good you are, because there's too many great talent out here.
Yeah.
You know,
Go ahead,
Yeah.
do gas.
just
You're
like
right about that.
Uh-huh.
just like
I agree.
myself and Gary.
I know. Let him finish, Ray.
No, go ahead.
No, just like myself and Gary.
Uh-huh.
In November, we've been doing this thing here for 23 years, and it was hardly nobody doing internet radio when we started this.
Wow, nice.
Yes,
Nice.
we have revolved in every different type of format, from the telephone to Skype to what we're doing now. What is it?
Boom.
Zoom.
Zoom. But yeah, and you
Just,
know, the hardest thing for me-
just think Commodore, Zoom.
Yeah. yes. Yes.
the hardest thing for me was yesterday to do a drop. Boy, I screwed up so many different times. It was crazy.
I understand.
I'm not used to doing that. This is what I do.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay. We all have our strengths and weaknesses.
Well, yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. But I like doing what I do. I like to promote stuff, to bring this interview. But, what we, by interviewing you, hey, man, that's your history.
Oh, I hope not.
Legend.
A legend.
I'm hoping I hear some.
Legend. No,
The
this is
extra
part of
word
the
is you're a
history
legend.
of how legends, how you got started, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
No, thank
This
you.
is what I enjoy doing.
No, I get it.
People such as yourself, and I'm telling you, I'm having a ball.
Yeah, it's you just, again, I think that's why Andrew always, because I do it like a conversation. It's not really like an interview. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like we've been knowing each other for years.
Right, right. And
That's
I
to me,
feel
that's how
that
it
you
should
feel
be.
comfortable with us. I feel that you feel comfortable with us.
Oh, I do.
I
do.
don't think he's uncomfortable anywhere.
Oh, no. That's what I'm saying. You know, I can tell that you
Joyce,
feel
you
comfortable.
got me, girl.
Because, you know, like I said, we always try to make any of our guests feel comfortable, even with my antics. You know.
I call it. No, let me shut up.
Well, I was gonna say, at least he stayed awake this whole time.
That's funny.
He tends to take naps sometimes when we're on the show.
Yeah. So
And I got my groceries here. I'm ready.
Oh, goodness.
But yeah, you know, I'm just myself. I can't be nobody but me.
It's funny. I say the same thing.
Yeah.
And here I'm gonna add one. You can use it, and I don't let other people's issues become mine.
'cause we have enough of our own, don't we?
Honey, yes.
I was working with somebody, and that was referred to me by a mutual friend, and he got a little cocky with me. Well, I just want to know what you want.
Oh.
I went, wait a minute, who you talking to?
Okay.
And the guy who referred me to him, he's like, well, you know, he's young. And he's in his early 30s. And I said, you know what? I'm a grown woman. I left one word, grown woman.
White woman.
And my kids are grown, and I'm not changing any more diapers. My kids are grown.
I know that's right.
Okay? And that's not where I am right now. I don't care what your age is. If you've been raised, you know how to speak to people. When I was 20, I knew how to talk to people.
Oh yeah.
All right?
Oh, yeah.
So we have to stop giving people excuses.
Exactly.
And I just didn't want to work. I'm like you. I didn't want to work that hard to tiptoe around your feelings. No.
But that's why I never wanted to manage. Seriously.
Yeah.
I know I would make a good manager.
Well, I think you would make a good manager because you know how.
If I had to be a manager, and if they late for a session or whatever the case may be, they ask me been getting charged.
Yeah, but still.
No, you just let go.
No, we've done shows with, I won't name names, but promoters is like, man, this is, you know, switching, blah, and I'm like, I ain't interested. So what you mean? I'm like, I said, one show we did, I won't tell you who it was. I said, man, let me tell you what y'all do. What's the word? I said, this person continues to get away with this because you enable them, because you're the promoter.
Yes.
I'm sorry, man. It's like, you know, talent is one thing, but I'm like, I'm not gonna sit and enable folks.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I don't blame you either. Because only thing I baby sitting up in here and cleaning up behind him and feeding him is my dog.
And here, I heard this on are you familiar with Dave Ramsey? He's a financial guy. No, Dave, no, okay. But I love this. He says, never argue with stupid because they'll I ain't even finished, Joyce laughing. Never argue with stupid because then they'll bring you down to their level and then beat you with experience.
Yeah. That's, boy, that's
I had
true.
to learn that, Philip. Sometimes I was in a long story short, rehearsing for a show. It wasn't mine. I was doing with a couple other ladies, and the keyboard player was rehearsing the songs. Well, he starts yelling at me. I'm like, all I did was ask you to go back to the top, you know, and well, you changed it. I said, no, the verse and chorus still the same. I'm still calm until finally I just told him, I said, you know what? I'm going to leave. That's all. Put my horn away, walked out. Well, he told his wife that I disrespected him. And I said, I don't do verbal abuse. My husband don't yell at me. And so no other man I will allow to yell at me.
I agree. Right? Yep. Very good.
And it got so heated that I was the culprit. And all I said was, if you tell everybody I disrespected your husband, I recorded the entire thing and I will release it.
Very
It was
good.
It was
you
over.
Still have it? You still have it?
I still have it.
All right then. That's what I'm talking about.
No, Ray, you know what she did to make sure she still has it? She
Oh yeah, she got to still have that.
no, I'm saying what she did is put it on digital, so it's gonna be here forever.
That's right.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah.
I let my husband listen to it, and he was like, "I'm surprised you put up with it that long." I said, "I'm a patient person. I don't just, but when I'm done, I'm done." And I
I get it.
politely walked away.
Yeah.
I didn't argue. I don't have time to argue. Some of the stuff that I see people doing, I haven't dealt with this since elementary school. I don't know how to deal with it, so I just walk away. I don't understand this. Well, why are you acting that way?
Yeah.
So it's like, but it is what it is. I know, G, you probably ready to wrap it up. I'm sorry.
Oh, it was about that time. Yeah, we got about 5 minutes. So, but
Mhm.
I guess
You
we
know
can
how
take.
you know how Joyce do, G. She get on that soapbox.
You know, what is it? The first hand that cackles.
But no, I just want to say to Phil, we really do appreciate you guys,
Oh, yeah.
hanging with us today and just
Thank you for having me.
sharing all this great knowledge and then just talking to us about all the great things, man. It's just you blessed. You are a blessed man. You've done so much,
And I don't take it for granted, even to
mm.
this day.
I don't blame you, man. So just keep it going and.
The people. I did one. You remember Patrice
Russian?
Banks? No, not Russian. Patrice
Oh,
Banks.
okay.
Rio Graham Central Station.
Yeah.
She had, her and I used to do a lot of sessions together with Wayne Henderson, and so she had her own internet radio show, and I was a guest one time. And so she said, because she was with Graham, and so she says, "So Philip, when Switch hit, did you like Wig Out?" I said, "Girl, heck no. Let me tell you. I said I'm from Akron. I go back. My parents were very proud of me and James, but when we go back, Philip, they got the trash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, hit records matter. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Exactly, Joyce. And then she said, "Do you have James shoveling snow?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's
My
like,
parents would have done the same thing.
So
Point.
that boy, nothing changed at home at all.
that's the thing. Yeah, we that was mom and dad. And they definitely kept us grounded.
Nice.
And I also knew that this stuff is short lived. You know what I mean? Like I said, you count the many people that's crossed decades. So I have crossed decades, a lot of decades, but it wasn't always in the limelight. But I've always worked.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
right. That's so
in a lot,
that's,
in a whole different. I mean, I've always done music. That's what I'm saying. Whether
And
it's singing on
that's
commercial, record, movie, yeah, live.
That
Yeah.
I call that
So
success.
I've done. It is. It's decades. It's crossing decades on a different way though. But yeah.
No, I remember she passed away a few years ago. My BFF sister, Julie Delgado, she was a background
Oh, I
singer.
know Julie very well.
You know her? Oh my God!
Julie and I used to-
Yeah.
Julie and I used to sing on records together.
Oh my! So you know how amazing. And I remember
Wow.
years
Yeah.
ago,
I love Julie.
I said, Julie, why don't you do this and that? She said, no, I love what I'm doing. I go, she, of course, she traveled the world. I think
Right.
one of the last artists, what was the rock star that she was,
Was it
singing
Rod
background?
Stewart?
Rod Stewart, yes.
Rod
when
Stewart?
she was touring. And she really didn't have to audition anymore. She was just living the life,
Oh, of
loving
course.
what she was doing. And Julie, when she would come in town, she would give us tickets. When she was singing with Janet Jackson, she gave Lainey, her sister Lainey, and I tickets, and a couple other people.
Nice.
And we got to see her with the Supremes because the Supremes had background, and Julie was one of the
Right.
backgrounds.
No, I've known Julie. Julie and I did a bunch of stuff together. I loved her.
Yes, what a small world. I mean, we're like family. Because her sister lives down the street from me, and we've been best friends for over
Nice.
30 years. Yeah.
Wow.
I
Yep.
know, yeah. Her mom, Omega, all of them. So her sisters.
Nice.
That is amazing. So yeah. It's
Yeah, Julie
amazing.
Delgado. I'm like, oh yeah. Julie and I, she's a great singer.
Wow.
Yes. She could sing opera, y'all, jazz, pop, anything.
Yep.
She was amazing.
Mm.
And again,
when-
to work with.
Yeah, very professional. But she
Yep.
never wanted to release an album. She said, "No, I'm fine right where I am."
Mm-hmm.
And see, I did it the other way. I did this stuff and then start doing the session stuff, and then
Right.
Yeah.
and still done stuff, other records, because I did a bunch of guest vocals during that time period as well. So
Mm-hmm. Well,
But anyway.
nice. Well, let us know. Well, I subscribe to your mailing list. If
Oh,
you
thank
guys
you.
ever come, Houston, Dallas, Oklahoma City, I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
definitely, you'll be my guest. We have city wineries. We're going to be doing well, actually, on the 22nd of July, we're doing Yoshi's up in Oakland.
Oh.
I
And
saw
we're doing I'm trying Philly, Atlanta, and Chicago. That's in
Mhm.
August.
Awesome.
But
Gotta
yeah,
come to
nothing near
Dallas.
nothing in the center.
Mhm.
Come on, Ray Mack. You and Fred figured out how to get him to Dallas.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what,
We ain't played Dallas in years. We
that,
played that.
that old man, he's listening in right now.
Yeah, y'all
Exactly.
figure it out. Get switched to Dallas, or get Philip to Dallas, if you know what I mean. He's a
Fred-
solo
Fred's
artist
listening
too.
Right
Yeah.
now. You know?
Yeah, work it out.
We're working on a lot of different things, Phil, and and trying to bring this more into view. Like festivals and plays and
Right.
movies. We're working on a lot of different things, But I keep telling them, let's take one of them at a time. Let's get this out of the way and go to the next step.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's why I was talking to you guys. Get him over here. You can already see he's a pro.
Yep.
He's still, like Gary said, he still got it. Still got the
Mhm.
chop.
He does. He
Oh
does.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. But
Yeah, let's work that out.
soon I know he's gonna be calling me and say, "Let's do this, Ray." I said, "All right."
Mhm. Yeah, Fred, do it.
He's
And
listening.
if you need an opening act, I'm just saying.
Of course.
All right.
All right.
Or no, have you come up and played a sax solo on "I Want to Be Closer"?
Ooh,
Yes.
that'd be
'Cause
sweet.
that was Ernie Watts that did that.
It was okay. I'll be happy to do it.
But see now, because we don't have any horns, when we do that, girl, right before we do that, we do do, and I just, I do my little.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mhm.
but I can say, you know what, Joyce. You know what I mean?
Sweet.
Excuse me. Fred just made a comment.
Uh-oh. What'd
He
he say?
said, "I would like to bring him to Dallas."
Okay.
Yeah, do it. Let's make it happen, Fred.
That'd be an awesome show. I know it will be.
Mm-hmm. It
And
sure
plus, we
will.
can do a live then. We can do a live remote then, huh, G?
Of course.
And still thinking.
I'll just check it.
All right. Well, I guess
All right,
it's
G,
time
I know
for
you're
us
trying to
get
wrap it
out.
up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to
All
take
right.
this time to thank Phil one more time. Thank you, brother, for being here with us today. We really enjoyed the
Thank you.
conversation.
I had a nice time.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm hungry, but I had a nice time.
I hear you. Me too.
You're not the only one. That's what
Absolutely.
my stomach was saying the same thing. But anyway.
Yeah.
I know. See, Ray got
See,
here.
Ray got his already. Yeah. Okay. Well, I want everybody to have a wonderful weekend. This is 4th of July weekend, so be safe out there. I don't know what you have planned out there, but be safe, and thank you for tuning in as always. And I'll pass it over to Ray and Joyce to say their so long as well, so we get out of here. Ray,
Hurry up, Ray.
Oh.
You sleeping?
He said Ray and Joyce. Come on, Ray.
Well, hey, Phil. Hey, man, it was our pleasure having you on the show this afternoon, man.
Mine as well.
Dog, and I don't know what else to say. Hell, I done said it all.
Oh, Ray, what do you say? See
See you later. Bye.
Right. See you
And
guys.
I'm like Ray. I'm just so honored. Back in the day, just remember seeing you guys and get to meet you, even though it's via Zoom. I love your success. It's been great for you, and I'm very, very happy for you. And like I said, I have subscribed to your mailing list so I can keep up where you can be playing, and looking forward to you coming to Dallas. I'm just gonna say it, you're coming to Dallas, and looking forward to that. All right, and I know you will tell people how they can subscribe. Where can they go to get your music? So I'm just gonna turn it over to him.
Yeah,
because I know we're past time.
That's cool.
Right quick, my website is philipingram.org, and my YouTube channel is the Philip Ingram channel. So I made it real simple.
Awesome.
Okay.
Love it. Cool. All right, everybody. Well, everybody, like I said, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. So long.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Oh, so long for this night. I pray that a star would guide you my way to share with me this special day, where a ribbon's in the sky for our love. If allowed, may I touch your hand, and if pleased, may I once again, so that you too will understand. There's a ribbon in the sky for our love. This is not a coincidence, and far more than a lucky chance. But what is that was always meant is our ribbon in the sky for our love. It can't lose. With God on our side, we'll find strength in each tear we cry. From now on, it will be you and I, and our ribbon in the sky, ribbon in the sky. A ribbon in the sky for our yeah, yeah.